Buddy deal? What's your favorite color? Put that down.
Remember you said that time God must be a painter because of all the colors at the governor's house? You said that.
I didn't think you were listening.
Colors.
The colors are cool.
Mm-hmm. Makes me kind of sorry I can't see the colors.
For centuries, people have been trying to recreate visual representations of real life, such as through paintings and stage shows. The introduction of color film opened many doors for the cinema industry, allowing them to effectively create works that resonated with their audiences. With this newfound technology, filmmakers were able to incorporate more aspects of reality into their creations. The invention of color film was such a turning point in society that the use of black and white film is almost unheard of in today's culture. The birth of color film takes us back to 1902. At this point in history, the newly emerging film industry was having trouble competing with live performances. However, this changed when a French illusionist and aspiring filmmaker, Georges Méliès, used a groundbreaking color method in his silent short film, A Trip to the Moon. This was the first public use of a color in motion picture. How did he do it? It was through hand painting each individual film cell, alternating colors red and green. When the painted film was played, it created the illusion of nearly natural color. This tedious technique of hand painting film cells eventually evolved into a process invented by George Albert Smith and Charles Urban, called kinemacolor. Kinemacolor involved red and green filters alternating in front of the camera and the projector. This was a much more efficient method of producing color film, compared to painting the cells by hand, and many more movies were able to be produced using this process. Some famous ones including A Visit to the Seaside in 1908 and The Scarlet Letter in 1913. Kinemacolor paved the way for a more well-known company. In 1915, three men, Herbert Kalmus, Daniel Frost Comstock, and W. Burton Westcott, came together to found the Technicolor Motion Picture Corporation. They set out with the sole intent of overcoming the technical challenges of filmmaking. One of their executives, Joseph Arthur Ball, designed the primitive Technicolor two-strip camera technology. This camera used a prism to split beams of light into red and green paths that were captured onto regular black and white film. The film was then separated by color and treated to remove the colorless image. Then, after both film strips are glued together, the red side is dyed green, and vice versa. These dyes allowed certain colors to be removed from the white light of the projector. The color film could now be played using any standard projector in the world. In 1917, this two-strip process was used to make a film called The Gulf Between. The quality of this romantic comedy was poor, and it strained the eyes of the audience. But the purpose of the film was not to be visual pleasant. It was to prove to investors that Technicolor had potential. However, this was not the case, as Billboard's critic left a negative public review, presumably ruining any chances that Technicolor had of taking off. But the creators of Technicolor were not deterred. After 15 years and 2 more failed attempts, they finally cracked the code to successful color film. By adding another strip of film that could capture the blue negative, Technicolor was finally able to produce visually appealing, semi-realistic color that was debuted in 1935 with the film Becky Sharp and popularized by the classic The Wizard of Oz in 1939. The introduction of Technicolor opened filmmakers up to a whole new variety of ways to improve the artistic quality of their works. Color gave a whole new meaning to cinematic composition. Set designers, costume technicians, and prop masters worked together to create cohesive settings that were visually appealing to audiences. Colors made people feel things. Reds depicted passion, desire, and anger. Blue was the color of coldness, melancholy, and tranquility, and greens conveyed envy, sickness, and obsession. Directors used color to their advantage to emotionally capture their audiences in a way that they hadn't been able to before. But along with new opportunities came new challenges as well. Creators were faced with the predicament of color accuracy. When films were black and white, filmmakers did not have to be concerned about the color of the set and props if it looked realistic. A notable example of this is in Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 cult classic Psycho. The blood in that famous shower scene was made from chocolate syrup, which has a similar consistency to real blood. Even though the colors differed, the audience could not distinguish the two. But when color became a factor that the directors had to consider, they found themselves rushing to create the perfect concoction to accurately replicate the bodily fluid. Eventually, they evolved from chocolate syrup to a mixture called Kensington Gore. It was a very primitive solution, but it was the gateway to more experimentation with fake blood and other movie props. But the integration of color didn't stop in Hollywood. In the mid-50s, Technicolor was replaced by more novel companies such as Fujifilm and Eastman Color, known today as Kodak. 20 years later, color made its way into the family home through color television. After a 30-year race with CBS, the Radio Corporation of America developed a line of affordable, high-quality color televisions. By 1972, 50% of all American households had a color television.
Do you think that the television industry would be as big as it is now if color television had never been invented?
No, you don't. I think it cemented television as being the predominant way that people got entertainment. I think if it was stuck at black and white, it would probably be it would have a limited acceptance. People would go to other technologies, and black and white television would be left for things like news programming and things like that.
With color television quickly becoming a standard in the American home, families were now able to view everything from sitcoms to sports to news channels in a more vibrant and realistic way. Even advertisements were now in color, allowing companies to display their products in a variety of hues and shades. The American people began to grow accustomed to having color media be their primary source of entertainment. That said, Hollywood began to increase their game. Color film had become more than just a means to make pieces more realistic. It became a whole new way for filmmakers to express their message to the audience. In the early 2000s, when movies were captured digitally, directors began to make bolder choices about their film's color scheme. Works like Amelie and The Grand Budapest Hotel are renowned for their distinct palettes and manipulation of color to invoke feelings of joy that are later replaced by uneasiness. Today, filmmakers utilize color for a wide variety of intentions. Colors don't only represent emotions, they can set the tone for the scene, draw the audience's attention to a particular item, and even depict character development. Color in the film industry has come a long way since its beginnings. It evolved from being a way to make films more realistic, competing with paintings in the theater industry, into being a means of creative expression, ensuring that each work captures the eye and the heart of each audience member. Color continues to be a staple in visual entertainment, and without it, our world would be simply monochrome.